All right, welcome everybody. We are here talking some Dolphins football. It's been a couple days since another disappointing loss for the boys, losing at the hands of the Chargers. Joined here by Jacoby, as always. Jacoby, let's start, man. Chargers beat us by what, 1 or 2 points right at the end? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a closer game than I thought. I can't believe they actually made it a ball game there in the fourth quarter, but very, very 2025 ending, like that it's been for Miami, the Miami Dolphins all year. So big letdown, but it's what we're used to, just missed execution. It wasn't surprised, but it is what it is, man. But it was a good game for sure, but very disappointing ending.
Yeah, man. Good game, definitely, I would say. Kind of kept you entertained. The boys started to bring home the pass rush a little bit in the first half, had the lead, kind of let down in the third quarter, and then things got crazy in the fourth quarter. Kind of similar to that New England Patriots game where it's just, who's going to take it, and let it be known it was the Chargers. Tua throwing 3 interceptions, however, and honestly, man, these weeks keep going by, and I am just fallen out of Tua, let alone what he's saying in the press conference. But Tua's play, man, like what are your thoughts on Tua's play?
It's beyond disappointing, and I don't think and for someone who is not the biggest Tua guy, I don't think he gets much help sometimes from his weapons. I mean, that interception that went to Waddle, I mean, that Waddle's got to catch that, man. That's inexcusable, and that's just something we've seen from Waddle time and time again in the last few years from Miami. But again, just careless mistakes from the quarterback and zero accountability from what I'm seeing. It's been beyond frustrating, and I'm at a point now where it's like, we need to see this shit just get better, man. And it's just been so frustrating to watch.
Dude, man, first of all, like, we know Tua's contract. Tua's contract basically says he's going to play on this Dolphins team this year, and he's going to play next year. And then after next year, you can move on from him. That's basically kind of what the numbers kind of represent. But when you see Tua play this damn bad, I think it only helps the case for those who want to get off of Tua, man. Like, maybe Ross sees this and kind of says, like, you know what, at the end of this year, I'm not even taking you into next season, man. But this is good. If you're rooting for the Dolphins to rebuild, the Dolphins to flip the page and move on from Tua and move on from Mike and move on from Greer, it's sad to say and root for your team to lose. But when it happens like this is how you get those things to happen faster. So, for people like me and you who, obviously saw once we started 1-4, we're kind of like, all right, we need to probably trend in that direction. Look at the Chargers game and those performances. It was kind of a win for us.
Yeah. No, yeah, I felt just like that, when it was happening, I had friends texting me like, of course they're going to sell it. Like, my brother was like, and the defense. So I'm like, this is good. This is what we need. This team's not going to do anything this year. And if they somehow crawl out of this hole, they're probably going to barely miss the playoffs. You need to think the big picture here. So I'm not even afraid to admit, I'm like, okay, like, I want to build for the future. I want to rebuild this whole product. So I'm not tripping against a loss. And right now I'm just sitting back and just laughing at what a shit show this is, because it's just something new every week. It's just been drama. Like, we're going to get into this in a bit, but it's just been all chatter and drama for the team since the game this past Sunday, man. It's insane.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you mentioned, first of all, you got Tua. It's every week. I mean, we talked about it last week. He said something else. Now he said something else. He's always saying something and making headlines in every time after a loss. Now, this time we got to talk about this one. So he aired out his teammates here. He thought this was smart after picking up a loss where he threw 3 interceptions. And he's talking about guys not showing up to player meetings and also showing up late, to the media, throwing his teammates under the bus, a guy with a C on his jersey who is the captain of your football team. And players did not like that at all, man. You heard Aaron Brewer say something about it. You heard former players even talk about how you just don't do this. Even Teron Armstead is, if you guys watch him, man, like, this dude is overly positive about the Dolphins. And where I think he's doing too much. Even he said, like, nah, too across the line on that. And that's very telling, man. So you had players speak up, and the coach was like, kind of like, I don't know what he's talking about. So now your coach is not even aligned. Like, you're basically bringing more drama into already a drama filled season. What are your thoughts on Tua and just airing his teammate, throwing him under the bus? Like, damn.
Yeah, see, for me, what was the most frustrating part about that is I don't typically have an issue with holding your players and teammates accountable to the public. I really don't. But I have a huge issue with it when you're not accountable yourself. I don't like for the past year when Tua has a bad game, he's up there like, oh, I'd like to see you guys try doing it. Oh, like the snap was too high. Oh, well, we got guys coming in late. Like it's always, oh, well, this. It's never, I got to be better. It's always pointing the fingers at people. That's what I have a main issue with. But also at the same time, the main issue that I am absolutely stumped that nobody is talking about. Okay, players are late to meetings. That has been a topic of discussion for Miami the past couple of years. Why is Tua catching the heat about it? This should be a reflection of the culture and expectations that Mike fucking McDaniel has set in Miami. That is what I'm so pissed off about. I'm not a Tua guy at all right now. And I'm like, okay, but why is he getting the heat for his players being late? Oh, they quit on the quarterback. No, that is what they're enabled to do. The coach does not put his damn foot down on that team, and they do whatever the hell they want. So that's what I'm really frustrated about, because players being late is not a reflection on Tua. It is a reflection of the fucking standard that this piss poor coaching staff has set in the last 3 years in Miami.
Yeah, you're right. And this is things that you've heard like trickle down around the off season. They're talking about, oh yeah, we got rid of the people that were showing up late. And you could say that was like Javon Holland, Jalen Ramsey and stuff like that. But like, let's face it, man, you already accepted that to be a thing. Like, you can't just hone down and come down hard all of a sudden when you weren't even about that. So this all goes back to the culture that is non-existent. And you were talking about this before even the season started. Yo, show me this culture change, because I was preaching this culture change all off season. Show me. And listen, at this point, bro, I'm pretty damn sure you're not seeing anything, bro. And now it's trickling down to Tua. That shows me right there, bro, like not even the players in your locker room respect Tua, man. And that doing this isn't going to help. It already shows them they're not even showing up to his meetings, but now he's even throwing them under the bus. Like, this is just a disaster. And it's like, at what point is enough and Stephen Ross going to make a decision? Hell, at this point, do you think Mike even gets let go this season at all?
No, I don't, because we just keep hearing chatter from NFL insiders that Miami wants this relationship to work so bad, and they're willing to be so patient with it, which I'm at a loss for words about, because I've never seen an organization be so content with being absolutely mediocre, undisciplined, a laughing stock in the league, and just not aware of the situation. Like, read the fucking room. This team is a complete joke. Your head coach has set a culture that is poorer than shit, and that is what my issue is with here. We've seen other coaches in Miami be let go way sooner, and we've heard Stephen Ross be adamant about stability, and long-term stability is crucial. With this with the organization, like, they want to have stability. And that's why Chris Greer has had his job for almost 10 years. But that is a factor when you're getting results. And this organization has not had results in more than 20 years. So I just think there's a major disconnect between reality and what is actually going on up there in the front office and ownership. I don't think they have a complete sense of what the hell to do. And it's beyond frustrating as a fan of this team.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, bro. Like, at this point, I'm hoping for whether Mike stays or goes. Listen, I'm rooting for the same thing. I at this point, I'm rooting for a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. I'm rooting for, at least before the draft happens, I want a new GM and a new coach to pick who they want with that 5th pick, whoever the hell it is, whether it's a quarterback or not. Let them make the decision, and that's what I'm rooting for. And then in the meantime, I'm rooting for the young guys to kind of see if they do good and who I can carry on with me with like a sort of rebuild. But then at the end of the day, I'm watching this game and I'm like, yo, I don't even think I'm loyal to any of these guys. Even the young guys aren't even showing up. Do you think a fire sale is on the horizon for this Dolphins team?
No, I seriously don't. I
Oh,
think Greer and Ross feel like this roster can compete. I don't see this, or like I don't see this organization pulling any trigger on anything this year. If I'm completely honest with you, and I like how you bring up like, hey, let's see how the young guys go. Well, Stephen Ross, you let Chris Greer run another NFL draft, and this draft class that he's brought to Miami has been a complete shit show so far. I know
yep.
it's only been 6 games, but this is it has been atrocious for these rookies so far. So, but if you
Mhm.
want, if you want to talk a fire sale, absolutely not, because I feel like if they were gonna blow it up, the coach would have been let go already. A long while ago. So I don't see it happen at all.
That sucks, man. Because I honestly do think that knowing how Chris Greer is, you're probably right. I mean, all the moves kind of point to this spot where it's like, this is kind of the team we're putting together, and we're just going to ride it out and see how it goes. That would honestly suck, because I just feel like this team really needs to just start cleaning house, collect assets, whether it's draft picks for this coming draft or ongoing, and just kind of free up some cap space to see what you can do in the future, because this core is done, man. And I had some loyalty to like Jalen Phillips, and I'm kind of questioning that. I had some loyalty to Devon Achan, and we were talking before, like, even though he's been so damn good, I don't know if I would want to keep him anymore. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the running backs, as I told you before, man, like those are the missing pieces to a championship roster, man. Like the running backs only give you 5, 6, 7 good years and then you're done. You keep Achan right now. By the time you're ready to be good, he's already done. So you might as well get the value for him right now while it's high. And it would pain me to get rid of Achan, but that's how I'm thinking of things. But let's talk about untouchables, because I think it's safe to say we both, whether Chris Greer does this or not, we would want them to rebuild. Who would you say is an untouchable that you would not want to see go if they were to just fire sale this thing up?
Man, for me, in terms of like untouchables, it's really hard for me to put a label on anyone on this team right now to be an untouchable. But if you really want me to like throw names out there, I think Devon Achan is a no brainer. I think that the talent and abilities he brings to this team is just way too valuable. I would love to keep him around. He's an absolute fan favorite. I would hate to see Waddle go. I think Waddle is on a tremendous valued contract and can still be that wide receiver one if this team could shift gears in fast, which I don't think they're capable of doing. But I'm not emotionally attached to anyone on this team right now. I used to be the biggest Jalen Phillips fan, and I can't even get behind him right now. Bradley Chubb, Bradley Chubb is Chubb. He's on that contract. He's going to continue getting up there in age. I'm not really too attached to him either. So I mean, that's just really hard for me to say, man. That I don't care for anybody on that defense and on that offense. It's just Waddle and Achan are my guys, and if you want me to say two are untouchable, it's going to be those guys, because those have been two of my favorite Dolphins players in this era since 2021. So,
All right, what about, let me give you some names. What if I give you Chop Robinson? You willing to move on from him?
I am. I mean, I haven't really been a big Chop guy, to be honest with you. I know he had a good second half last year, but I don't see him as like a really big building piece. I don't see him as like somebody who takes over games and makes as much of an impact like a Bradley Chubb has this year, or like when Jalen Phillips before his injury. I just haven't been too impressed with the guy. I mean, maybe I'm keeping him to stay in that youth direction. If they want to really revamp the team and go younger, then yeah, I'm not opposed to it. But untouchable, I mean, you give me some draft assets, I'm going to be open to anything.
Yeah, like now I'm playing. Now let's play this. Like this is, I'm giving you basically, all right, you will get draft assets in return. Would you be okay with that? Right? I'm not even gonna say how many draft assets, just draft something of value. Like you would be okay moving on from Chop?
I would, yes.
All right, how about Minka Fitzpatrick?
That's a tough one. I just feel like I feel like I feel like the draft assets. I mean, it just really just depends on the state of the team. I mean, if they're going to be tanking, I'd rather not waste his career and get whatever I can for him draft asset wise. I mean, I wouldn't call him untouchable. I don't, because like for me to call a player untouchable, means your team is a competitor and they are a sustainable product and they can compete for a playoff spot. But right now, I just can't see it.
Well, all right. So let's take out the word untouchable, right? Let's say, all right, what do you want this team to do? You want
Okay.
this team to rebuild, or you want this team to try to be good?
I do want this team to rebuild.
All right. So in that
I do
case,
want
right?
them to rebuild.
Let's say we want them to rebuild. You're pulling. So the only two guys you would want to keep on the rebuild is Achane and Waddle.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if they had a competent GM in there, because we've seen teams do like rebuilds, it only takes a couple years and they can get back on track. You know, but like if they did a full blown rebuild, yeah, I would like to build around those two guys. But you know, if it was just like a quick turnaround rebuild, yeah, I mean, sure, I'd keep Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Okay. All right, cool. So I kind of see what your head is. You got more players than me, man. Like as I mentioned, like I would trade Devon Achane as well, because I just think I agree, man. Like this dude is so fun to watch, man. Like he's definitely my favorite Dolphin right now. Like he's freaking awesome. But I would rebuild. I would definitely move on from him, and I would actually do the same with Waddle, man. Like Waddle has been, bro, like he's been pissing me off, man. Even though he's putting up some numbers, man, like his numbers could be so much better, bro. Like the first interception of the game was on him, bobbling the ball, still with those drops. This guy falls on the floor and then catches the ball as well. Like this dude is like, it's just way too many like mistakes where he just can't catch the football on a consistent level. I just don't understand. I really am disappointed. I don't know if it's the coach. I don't know what it is. But I just expected more from Jalen Waddle. So because he frustrates me and I want a full rebuild, at this very point in time, the only player that I'm holding on to is Patrick Paul. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only guy that I would want to hold on to in a full rebuild, which is what I would want.
I think that's a pretty solid choice there too. I mean, if this rebuild taught us anything, it's you need an elite pass protection. You need an elite offensive line. And if you want to start building a foundation with that, I would keep Patrick Paul around too. So
I think he's the only solid one. I think you'd agree, right?
I mean, you got to start that. You got to start trending in that direction anyways. But you know, that I mean, I think that's the biggest lesson this failure of a rebuild has taught us. You know, you can't neglect the O-line, and they continue to do it every year. So I think that's a solid choice.
Yeah, man. So are we rooting for losses from here on out? Question of the day.
I am. I mean,
I am as well.
Like, you know, and I'm not even afraid to admit that, because a lot of fans are like, how dare you root for your team to lose? I'm like, you know, I'm rooting. Like, I don't just want to win just to be, like I said, I don't want to just sneak into the playoffs and get blown out just so we can say, oh, we went to the playoffs this year. That's not the fan I am. I want a sustainable, long-term, successful product. Mm-hmm. And they were trending in that direction. That's why I wanted them to continue to be aggressive in that 2023 season. Get trade. Like, there was a lot of O-line protection out there. Go and trade. Make this trade. Chase Young, like, go get help. You know, don't let your division opponents outmatch you. Be aggressive. And, you know, I just want a long-term successful product. And if it takes tanking and rebuilding it from scratch, that's the direction I want them to go. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'd rather not sit here and try to force myself to love this product that might hang in there for a wild card spot. It's not fun. So, you know, just because then you're just sitting there knowing, you know, they're never going to win. They're never going to win a Super Bowl. So just enjoy it while just have fun, get drunk and have fun, watch the game. Like, no, that's just not the fan I am. I want a long-term successful product. So
dude, I'm with you, man. Like, I'm also rooting for losses. And mind you, I've been a guy who's been so against like rooting for your team to lose, regardless of a rebuild. Like, you should want your team to win, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of different factors that go into this one, man. Like having Mike McDaniel, let's say you're rebuilding, right? And you have a new head coach. Like when Brian Flores' first year, like that team was really bad roster wise. A lot of people wanted them to tank and get another pick. I was rooting for them to win because at that point you got a new head coach. You're trying to establish a culture. Yes, you're bad and you're not gonna make noise in the playoffs, but if you could get there, that's a huge stepping stone. This time, bro, there's no reason to root for them to win. You got Mike McDaniel. I'm pretty sure everybody wants him out. I'm pretty sure you want Greer out at this point. You're probably so fed up with Tua. Like the only way we get 1, 2, and 3 done is if we keep losing games. And then you can just add the wrinkle of adding a top 5 pick to have a new head coach choose who the hell he wants at that pick. This is the first time I think in my whole fandom that I'm honestly rooting for losses from here on out. That was dating back to when we lost to Carolina, bro. Like I was honestly mad when Waller caught that touchdown against the Chargers just this past week. I was mad. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like now when I want them to lose, they win. And then when they lost, I was honestly happy, man.
That's how it goes.
It has to be like this, man. But trust me, this is better. If you care about this Dolphins team and the future and want to stop them from being a laughing stock, it's no guarantee that if you do this, it'll happen, but there's a chance. So and you have to root for your team to lose at this point.
You know, for anyone who has that mindset, you're like, oh, you can't root for them to lose in a rebuild. Think back to 2019. Maybe 2 more losses, they would have landed and gotten Joe Burrow. You know, it's just like that. They decided to fuck around and win some games, and they ended up with pick number 5. Could have gotten Joe Burrow. That's what I'm just saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I'm dealing with the same thing with my Kings. They were 1 loss away from getting Cooper Flagg, apparently, from the draft lottery. So, I mean, you know, that's why I'm like, when it's not relevant, when this team is not relevant or going to stand a chance in anything.
See, that was the year that I was talking about. Like, that was the year that I was talking about. I was rooting for wins. And then, like, come to think of it, like, I probably shouldn't have. We could have had Joe Burrow.
Was that crappy win against Cincinnati worth on potentially losing out on Joe Burrow? You know, like, that's what I think about it. So.
And that's why now I'm taking this approach totally different. I'm rooting for losses, man. But let's talk about this preview, man. For any of you guys that want the Dolphins to win here. So you got the Dolphins versus Browns this weekend. A Browns team who is pretty much on your level. I can't even say they're worse because the Dolphins are just as bad. So they're on your level right now. Injury report seems pretty clean for the most part. The one thing that I found no taken is that David Njoku is dealing with a knee injury. He did not practice on Wednesday. Tua is off the injury report. He practiced in full. Some guys are limited in there, but nothing really too notable on the Dolphins side of things to be concerned about. But this Cleveland Browns team, man, what are your thoughts on the Browns? They got rookie Dylan Gabriel now. He didn't look too good, but he's playing over there. What are your thoughts on the Browns?
Yeah, I just think it's just a total mess over there. I think, you know, a lot of decisions the last few years have just really fumbled any chance they were going to take to sustain any success. You know, they got rid of a stud of a quarterback a few years ago and went the Deshaun Watson route. It's just been all downhill from there. So they just got rid of Joe Flacco, and now they're, you know, shopping the rookies around in the starting lineup. So I mean, we'll see what Dylan Gabriel brings to the table, but I don't think Miami can overlook any opponent right now if their perspective is to still go out there and win ball games. So yeah, we'll see. But it's been very disappointing, and you know, just Cleveland fans can never catch a break with that team. So it's been disappointing with how they've handled their progress as well.
Yeah, bro. I was looking into it and I'm like, damn, yo, the Browns kind of have it bad too, man. Like they had Baker Mayfield. They let him go. Baker goes crazy. They signed Deshaun Watson when he was like a top 5 quarterback at the time to like the biggest contract. Then his situation happens. Then he sucks. Then he gets injured.
Yeah.
Then you draft. And this was also, let me just mention, Baker Mayfield led them to the playoffs at this point. So this is right when they kind of started to probably turn the corner. They just go right back down, and even like lower than down at this point. They draft Shedeur Sanders. They have Dylan Gabriel. They have Joe Flacco. They have like 4 quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett. Like, what are they doing? Now they only have 2 of them when they could have had 2 to begin with. It's just like,
I mean, God,
dude, it's an absolute mess. And then Gabriel, I think, threw 52 passes last week and barely completed a lot of them, apparently, like over 10 yards. It was some ridiculous stat. But they do have a good defense. And with that being said, I'm going to ask you this. So what do you think the Miami Dolphins will struggle with against this Cleveland Browns team?
You know, it's tough for me. This defense is so like I'm like I can't take any bad offense against this defense because Carolina just made a clown show out of them. But I think they're going to significantly struggle with Cleveland's pass rush and Myles Garrett on the other side. I think that's going to be their biggest challenge, as it would be for any other team. But this O-line has been atrocious all season long. And I think Tua is going to be fighting for his life to get plays off with him rushing him for sure. So I think Cleveland's defense is going to give Miami a hell of a time. So that's how I think they're going to struggle with for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you as well, man. I think if there's, Dylan Gabriel doesn't scare me at all, but if I think they're going to struggle with the most, it is that offensive line, as you mentioned, against that pass rush with Myles Garrett. And they also have Mason Graham, their first round pick as well. I think it's going to be trouble. It's definitely going to be trouble for the Miami Dolphins offensive line. Going into the keys, man, let's say we want the Dolphins to win and they never hit on the keys, which is why they keep losing. What are the keys for the Dolphins to win this game, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the number one key is protecting the quarterback. I think this O-line is going to have a hell of a task at hand, and if they're going to, I think Miami is going to be passing a lot this game anyways, because I think Cleveland will definitely get a bigger advantage on the other side. But you gotta take care of the quarterback, and that's just common sense. And this O-line is going to have probably their biggest task of the year. So that's going to be my first key. And my second key is going to be containing Gabriel, like continue to take advantage of his struggling, do not let him gain any momentum. And you got to just continue to beat him when he's down. Containing Gabriel is going to be a big one because this defense has been like the get right game for a lot of these struggling quarterbacks. Bryce Young has had some pretty good success since his game against Miami. So just don't let him get any momentum. Don't let him see a pass get completed for a big gain. Set the stone right, and you're going to be fine. And my third one is going to be a challenge to Mike McDaniel, and that's going to be command your team. I want to see him come out and lead this team on the sideline. Call some great plays. Hold your guys accountable. And I think you're going up against a really good coach in Kevin Stefanski. I want to see Mike McDaniel come out and talk up these guys and have himself a really good game, play calling wise, and leadership wise. And we'll see what happens. I think you're going to be in a tough atmosphere, but I think they've been in a lot of tough ones this year too, and I don't really think it matters. So we'll see. But I think those are three good keys, and I think they're going to have their work cut out for them. I know Cleveland's struggling, but I don't like the matchups. So
yeah,
that's what I think.
I really don't like the matchup either. And I actually forgot, man, you're right. Tough atmosphere. Forgot that this game is actually in Cleveland. Like, that's a game where that's a fan base that is freaking crazy no matter how good and how bad they are. Whichever one, they show out and they're loud over there in the dog pound. My first key, man, is going to be the same as you mentioned, bro. The offensive line has to be ready to play. Talk about probably their biggest matchup of the season, just like you mentioned, man. You're going against Myles Garrett, arguably this is a future Hall of Famer, man. Arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL still for the last couple of seasons. Like, you're going to be tested, man. You're going against Myles Garrett. You're going against Mason Graham, their first round pick. That offensive line has to be able to protect Tua, to not have Tua panic out there. It's not even about giving up sacks. It's about Tua making these decisions where he gets happy feet and he gets scared and he's throwing, because you got DBs on the other side in Cleveland, and Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Tyson Campbell, newly acquired. Like, they got some good DBs there. And if Tua's trying to play these games where he's just throwing it, they'll pick you off. So offensive line, definitely key number one. Key number two, for the love of God, can you please stop having these running backs go crazy? Now, you got Quinshon Judkins, who is a freaking stud. This dude runs hard. This dude is, the game plan is probably going to be run. Now, what are you going to do to respond? Are you going to contain the run and make them pass? Dylan Gabriel, as we mentioned, this dude is a rookie. This dude has had struggles. He is not anything that's to be afraid of. Make him a passer. And that has to go with taking away the run. I don't know if that happens, but that's my second key. And then my third key is if Dylan Gabriel is going to pass. I mentioned that he barely threw for over a 10-yard pass like this past
Yeah,
week, which means he's
absolutely.
kind of checking down to his tight ends. David Njoku, you got Harold Fannin over there as well. Miami always gives up tons of yards to tight ends. You gotta contain that. You gotta watch that, bro. And knowing that he has limitations to his arms, you
Yep.
should be able to have a nice defensive approach here. But that's how you win the game. Whether the Dolphins do it, I'm gonna go ahead and pick my winner, man. I don't like the chances, man. I think that the Browns right now are a better football team despite their record. Like you look at these rosters, bro, and I like I like what the Browns have right now more than the Dolphins. So I'm gonna take the Browns to win this game in Cleveland. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's a solid choice. I think both teams are going to put up a decent amount of points, but I think Cleveland's going to win this one. Even with Dylan Gabriel's struggles last week, I'm going to still give Miami's defense the less of the doubt, and I think he's going to have himself a little get right moment and have himself his early career highlight reel, like it always does with these quarterbacks. So
Oh yeah,
I'm going to
why
give
not?
Cleveland the win here, 27-17. I'm going to do it a 10-point victory. I think they're going to go off a little bit in the fourth quarter.
Okay, listen, I'm going with the more physical team, and I'm going with the team, despite having rumors to probably get fired, I'm going with the team with the better coach right now. And Stefanski is a better coach than Mike McDaniel. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you
I saw
got
people calling this game the first to get fired bowl, and I don't, but I don't think anyone's going to get fired. So we'll
listen,
see.
you got the coaching advantage with Stefanski. You got the physicality advantage with the Browns. You got a better defense with the Browns, and the Browns are at home. Like, and what could you tell me that you have an advantage with in Miami side? Devon Achan?
Yeah,
Like that's it? Not enough. Not enough. I'll take the
exactly.
Browns. All right, man. So those are our picks and our keys. And now let's talk about fantasy football. I know it's been a struggle for you, my man, in my league. I don't know what's going on with you, bro. I have no idea.
I'm at a loss for words. So, like it's a combination of Brian Thomas Jr. getting off to a slow start and other teams just having career weeks. But I'm pretty much tapped out. I'm not going to stop trying, but I'm pretty much tapped out. I'm on 6, I believe. So it's been tough. I've been putting up good points, but
You
my other
have.
league, I'm 4-2 in top 3, and I'm pretty much shifting my focus into that league. So, but I'm not going to stop trying. I gotta try to upset somebody. So, but yeah, it's been a struggle. It's been a big struggle.
Yeah, it's too bad we're not like, doing a like a rebuild type of thing here,
I
bro.
know, like dynasty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Then you'd be on the driver's seat.
exactly. I'll be like, oh yeah.
All right, man. So what you got this week, man?
Yeah, I'm pulling up my notes now. So, pretty good week for me with my players on my other league. A lot of good matchups I'm liking this week, and I'm gonna go with my first for my quarterbacks. I'm gonna go over to Washington for my first game. This quarterback is projected to put up the most points out of the quarterbacks. He's playing a weak Dallas defense that's allowing the most points from quarterbacks, and that's going to be Jaden Daniels. That's my first stardom. He's the QB 22, so I think it's a perfect storm kind of stardom moment. Give him your shot. I think he's going to give you over 20 points this week. And going on to my second stardom, you'd think, if this was a couple years ago, like, oh yeah, you have to start this guy every week. He's Patrick Mahomes. So that is who I'm picking here. He is the QB1 right now, which I'm like, oh, he jumped up hella from the last few weeks. Had 31 this week against Detroit. So Patrick Mahomes is gonna be my second stardom. I'm gonna give him the projection to have his fourth biggest week of the year. And he's been putting up past 25 points the last 3 weeks, and I think it's going to continue against the Raiders. So those are going to be my first 2 stardoms. I love them. And going to my situms, I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. I think he's going to get sacked a lot this week, and that's going to be Tua Tagovailoa. He's going up against Cleveland, who are number 8 against quarterbacks right now in fantasy-wise, and Tua's sitting at the QB 20 right now. So he is rostered in a good percentage amount of leagues, and the buys are starting to pile up. So if you need to start looking at quarterbacks, I would avoid him right now for sure. And to my second sit-em, this quarterback really hasn't been having the production that we're used to seeing out of him fantasy-wise the past year over there in Green Bay. He's the QB 17, which is a little disappointing, but he's still averaging around 17 points. Had 14 last week in Cincinnati, and he's going up against the Cardinals, who are ranked 10th against quarterbacks, and that's Jordan Love. I mean, he's going to be my second sit-em. Don't like the matchup at all. So I think those are solid picks right now for the quarterbacks as well.
I like that Patrick Mahomes pick, bro. I've been watching them and he's passing the ball so much, bro. Like
Yep.
these running backs like Pacheco, he gets like 5 yards per carry, which is good, but they're not
Yep.
even giving him touches. He's getting like you'll see that they'll run the ball 8 times in a game and Mahomes is just slinging the rest. So, hey man, Mahomes is definitely an easy stardom.
Yep, absolutely. And now to the running backs. This guy, he is questionable, but he was limited today because of illness, and I think he's going to play. And that's Josh Jacobs, averaging 20 points on the week. He already had his bye. 32 points against Cincinnati on 18 carries. He's getting a lot of targets on the reception game, especially if you're in PPR leagues. It's perfect. Josh Jacobs is my first start for the running backs. And I'm going to give the rookie some love. He had a breakout game a couple weeks ago, but I think he didn't have the game they were all looking for this week. But I think he's going to get moving again against Dallas, who are ranked 30th against running backs as well. Dallas is just having it really tough against running backs and quarterbacks, and that's Jacory Krosky-Merritt. I'm going to give him the second stardom. He's the running back 25, but that's on limited production until Eckler got hurt. He's seen 14 carries and 17 carries in the last 2 weeks, so I think he's going to continue his production from a couple weeks ago against Dallas.
I like it.
And to my sit-ems, I'm going to go first starting in LA with Kyren Williams. Even though the running back 9 going up against a really good Jacksonville defense against the run, they're averaging a combined total of 19 points to running backs. And he did have a solid week against Baltimore on 13 carries. But, we are seeing since week 1, his carrying rate steadily declining. He had 18, 17, and 20 in the first 3 weeks, and now 13, 14, 13. So I don't think I'm going to continue that. That's going to continue to fall, especially against a good Jacksonville defense. That's going to be my first one. And then my second one's going to be Rachaad White, even though they're running back 23. Really tough matchup against Detroit. Running back, they're ranked 6th against running backs. And Rachaad White just has not had the projection that we're kind of used to seeing from him unless he's scoring touchdowns, and I don't really see him scoring touchdowns against Detroit. So those are my 2 sit-ems.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned last week, bro, like how good Atlanta's defense was. I was surprised by that, and they were. Yep. And now also the Lions, man, stopping the way they're able to stop the run this year has been pretty damn impressive as well.
Yep. Atlanta put on a clinic against Buffalo. I loved it.
Dude, so. I thought of you. I was like, damn, I guess you were kind of right about what you were saying about Atlanta. I must have been sleeping. All right, wide receivers.
Wide receivers, I'm going to keep Jalen Waddle in my stardoms this week. I think Waddle is going to be a solidified wide receiver 1. His production has gone up increasingly since Tyreek's injury, and I think Tua is going to keep looking to him and Waller. So I'm going to keep Waddle in there as my stardoms. I think that's just a no-brainer. And then going to second, I'm going to give the man who's hasn't played a snap this year, but he's going up against a really good matchup in Vegas, who are averaging a whopping 37 points to wide receivers. And I think they're going to look to get him involved immediately because Kansas City is desperate for some wide receiver production, and that's Rashee Rice. I'm going to give the guy returning to have a big week. I'm going to project him to put up 16 points.
I forgot about him. Nice.
Yep, he comes back this week. And going over to Philadelphia, that's kind of been a downfall for them lately, and it's not looking any prettier for this guy, especially if you took him in the first 2 rounds, and that's A.J. Brown, who is rotting at the wide receiver 37 spot, averaging 9 points a game this year, and he's going against the number 1 ranked defense against wide receivers, and we know Jalen Hurts just can't throw a football to save his life. So A.J. Brown is going to be my number 1 sit-em, and I think that's a no-brainer. I think it's really time to look at other options for him. And going up against to the other receivers, I'm going to give JSN, who's the wide receiver 2, the sit-em, in my opinion, for this week. And it was kind of a stretch there at first, but Houston's actually been really, really solid against wide receiver defenses. And I think with some other options, if you have a valuable bench, might want to consider either at least flexing him to get someone else in there, or I would look at another option for sure. But I think, especially going into a bye, I don't know. I just don't like the matchup. I think Seattle will struggle against Houston. So that's going to be my second sit-em.
And also that's noteworthy that Houston is coming off a bye week themselves, so they're pretty well rested.
Yes. Now to my tight ends. I've given this guy a stardom twice this year so far, and both those years he had over 10 points, and that's going to be Tucker Kraft. I'm going to give him the start this week against the Cardinals. He's got a really easy stretch coming up, and I think he's going to continue gaining momentum with Jordan Love. They're ranked 27th against the tight end, so I'm going to give him my first start. And I'm going to throw Mr. Reliable right now for Miami, and that's Darren Waller. I think he and Waddle are going to target share most from Tua, and I think Waller right now, he missed the first 3 weeks, and he's already the wide receiver 19. Crazy. He's had 17, 18, and only 9 this past week, and that's only on 3 targets, though. So you double those targets, he probably has a bigger game. So I'm going to give Darren Waller another start this week. And to my sit-ems, I really don't know what to expect from this 49ers offense right now, but I'm definitely not going to throw this guy in there after missing 4 weeks against a really good Atlanta defense, and they're number 1 against the tight end, and that's George Kittle. I'm not going to start him this week right now. I think that's just a no-brainer coming off a really, really tough injury that can be tough to recover from. And this 49ers team is just a mess right now, so I'm just not doing it. And with this guy, he is the tight end 5, thanks to a really big performance in Jacksonville. And with Rashee Rice coming back, I think Rashee Rice is going to take a majority of the targets, and that's Travis Kelce. I'm going to sit him this week. I think there's some better options on the waiver wire that you can definitely find than him. But those are my stardom sit-ems, and I think they're pretty solid for this week. I really like the matchups we're going to have, and it should be a good week. And we're almost halfway done with the season, if you think about it. So
it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. I do like this Darren Waller, bro, because like we mentioned last week, like he always has that dependability of like getting an end zone target or a couple targets once they're in the goal line, because that's how he scored last week. It was literally the last he had 2 points, and then it went from 2 to 9, like right at the end. So there's always that potential there. And like we mentioned, bro, like 9 points from a tight end, you got to take that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just been a little bit of the same guys on the tight end market, but with Darren Waller being in there, it's been a little breath of fresh air with not seeing the same guys get the same production. So for sure. But I like it. I think they're solid picks. So
all right, I like him too. So last question before we wrap out of here, man. Yep. Fernando Mendoza, have you seen him play yet?
Fernando Mendoza, I don't think I have. Who are we talking about here?
So this is a quarterback for Indiana who honestly looks freaking amazing, bro. Like, dude is the real deal. I believe he's from Miami. I know he's Cuban, and there's a lot of Cuban people over there in South Florida. So this dude is coming out this year into the draft, and he looks like he is the best quarterback right now, as of right now. Now things can change, but he wasn't supposed to be the best. So obviously you hear about the LSU guys and the South Carolina kid. This dude has literally like outshined all of them now through like 6-7 weeks here. So
I've been slacking on the college games lately, so I'm gonna have to shift my way in there because we might be in the top 5. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pay attention to him.
so look out for that kid, and then also this kid, Dylan Moore from Oregon, bro.
Sounds good.
Those 2 guys right there, they were literally like there was like 5 people ahead of them preseason.
Oh, really? Wow.
But now, if they were to do it again, I'm pretty sure they probably go as the top 2 guys. So
yeah,
something to look at, some highlights here and there, man, if you're interested.
Sounds good.
All right, so that wraps up the show here. We will catch you guys next week to talk about the Browns and where the Dolphins will go from there. Catch you guys next week. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter for more. See you guys next time.